Libraries, which are the essential part of CodeIgniter framework. So when it comes to CodeIgniter, we have already seen in our previous chapters, there are various type of implementation of third-party libraries as well as the customized libraries. So essential part of a CodeIgniter framework is its libraries, and it includes various set of libraries which are rich set of libraries which increases the speed of developing an application. So that is a very big point with respect to CodeIgniter. The system of the libraries are located inside system libraries folder, and all we need to do is just load the library that we want to use it. The library can be loaded in a peculiar manner. So we'll have a look in this chapter like how the libraries are loaded, how their customized libraries are taken in our web application project, and how we can declare these libraries, or you can say load the libraries inside controllers, or let it say views part, because it's only the controllers and the views which interact with the libraries. Third-party libraries are very beneficial when it comes to the point of interaction with a very magnificent way of accessing various type of logs, or it's like giving the better look and feel with respect to your views and many more things. So in this chapter, we'll focus about our code base where we'll create a controller for libraries, and these libraries will be declared inside our libraries section, that is inside system libraries. So we'll go to our code base. So this is our code base. I'll remove all the unwanted files. So now inside my system folder, so here is my system folder, and inside system I have my libraries folder in it. So this libraries folder has n number of third-party libraries which you can see it over here. Like we have calendar, cart, email, encrypt, many more things. So each of this library has its own use, but for now we'll do one thing. There is also a library section inside application libraries, which you can see over here. So this is like a customized library. So I'll create a new file over here, and I'll just name the file. So my library will be named over here as my library.php. So this is the name of my file. And here I will create my new library. So this is my customized library. So it is maintained inside application libraries folders to create my own library over here. So the name of the file must be start with the capital letter. So that is the first naming convention for libraries. The class name must start with the capital letter, and the name of the class and the name of the file must match. So we are going to follow this convention. So my class name will be declared over here as class my library. So this will be under the PHP code. So I'll take PHP codes over here. So PHP codes is mentioned inside it. So class my library, here you can see that my class name as well as the file name both are matching. So I'm following both the conventions. The name of the file must start with the capital letter. The class name also should start with the capital letter, and the name of the class and the name of the file should match. So now inside this, I'm going to mention a comment like this is creating my library. So I'm going to mention comment that creating my library, or this is nothing but my customized library. So this customized library will have n number of rules in it. So I'm going to mention my naming conventions because this is very important while creating your own library. That library name should start with capital letter. Second point, the class name also should start. So I should say that class name should start with the capital letter. And the third point will be that the name of the class, like the class name and file name, should match. So these parameters should be taken into the consideration while creating my library. So inside my library, I will declare whatever the functionality I want to declare it, and inside that I'll say I'm going to call for a function that is public, the name of the function. So this is my access modifier, public function, some function. So this is just a function I'm declaring for now. And inside this, I'll call for some set of whatever the logic I want to declare for my library. First of all, I'll give a comment. So this will be like any functionalities can be added. So this all functionalities can be added over here. So here I can define whatever the business logic I want to say for my library. So once this is done, After that, I'll go to my controllers. Here, inside the controller section, I just need to do one thing, that I'm going to call for this library. So we'll just do an echo statement over here to verify whether my call is being verified or not. So this is my first library. So this is my simple echo statement I'm mentioning over here, end with the semicolon. Okay, now inside my controller, so this is my basic controller for CodeIgniter, that is welcome.php once you install it. Here I will just load the library. The syntax for loading is $this load library and the name of library, that is my library. So I'll just load this part. So it means that my library, the name which we gave right now, we also need to check that my library, the name should be similar to that of the name which we mentioned over there. So we just save this particular file. The name of the library and the class name should match. So that is also a very important parameter. So loading library syntax is very simple. You just need to mention load library and the library name. So after the particular loading, so whenever you call for this controller, the controller loads the associated library because it is a customized thing. So it will call for the application libraries directory. So inside my library, it will call for a function. So my function was some function. So I'll call for this function and the associated function will be called inside my controller function. So it's not like completely loading the entire thing. So my sum function is being called. I take the name in the same way. Better is to copy paste it from your library instead of avoiding any kind of the conflict section. So my library is being declared over here. So this is the way of declaring your own library. So this is your custom library. So that is why very easy to get it. So once your custom library is being declared, you can go to your CodeIgniter page or load to inside our view. So I just check in my browser. Here I call for my project, that is CodeIgniter project. So here you can see easily my echo statement has been depicted in the screen, which means that my library is loaded successfully. So in this way, you can create like your own libraries with the functional. Suppose you need some kind of a date, timestamp or something, which is going to be called on and off in the controller section of your web application. So simple thing is that you can create it in your libraries, store it, and you can access it through the controllers with the specific function. So this is the way it does with my library. This was a simple example which we saw for now. Like my library was my own custom library, which I call inside the CodeIgniter framework. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm extending this with the custom library. So this is like I'm loading a native library over here. So sometimes you need to add your own functionality to the library provided by the CodeIgniter. Like this was related to email, for example. So that's why I'm extending it with CI_email. So email functionality will be loaded over here automatically. So I'm just doing this part. So in this way, you just need to declare the class name because all these class names were defined inside system folder libraries where we had various type of third-party libraries for email, for session, and many more. So which we saw earlier in this chapter. So extending a native library is very simple by extending the class name of that particular library. For our example right now, we extended it with our CI_email functionality. So in this situation, you do not want to use the native library as and when it is needed. Inside your custom library only, you just declare the class and you define the complete logic in your file, and this logic will be automatically loaded inside the controller section. So that is a very plus point about declaring it with the native library. So here in this first library, you will get the native library loading. Once you declare it, and automatically all the functions will be loaded in your web application system. So this was about understanding with the loading libraries in CodeIgniter. In the next chapters, we will understand about temp data, flash data, the various other functionalities in CodeIgniter and how they are implemented and how it is depicted in our web application framework. So let's move to our next chapter and have a look on the same.